Hello and welcome to the SportsGrad podcast. My name is Ruben Williams, and with me, as always, is the strong Ryan Walker. How are you today?
I'm going great, Ruse. Feeling stronger and better than ever. So feeling good. How are you?
Excellent. You look strong. I can tell you've been doing your lockdown push-ups and your pull-ups and your tricep dips on the kitchen table. It doesn't take a podcast listener to tell that through their headphones. So always a pleasure and great to see you in excellent nick.
Thank you. Yeah, it doesn't take much to get me and Nick, and my program, Rubes. Plenty of strength exercises, lots of running, lots of riding. You know me, so I feel good. You look great too, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind sometimes. The other place that is too kind and good for your education is Deakin University, where every single course is backed by industry experts, so you can be confident you'll get the job you want with a degree employers want. Deakin University, progressive real-world learning. This show is also brought to you by our great friends at Sports Where I Am. Summer is coming up. Things are starting to open back up in Australia, and Sports Where I Am have a number of different events available for you to attend. So give yourself a summer to look forward to and head to www.sportswhereiam.com to find all your favorite sports. Plus, you can use the code SportsGrad and you'll grab 5% off your tickets. How good is that, Ryan?
Gee, it's a good deal. And so many awesome events coming up. It's a scary time. This is the great time of the year.
This is spring. And we're getting back to enjoy it again, which is unreal. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Finally, if you want to learn more about Ryan Walker or myself, you can head to LinkedIn, where you'll find all the information you need to know about our background, who we are, what we've been up to. And you can ask us any questions there as well. So there's a link in our show notes to find our LinkedIn profiles if you wish to do so. Now, today, Ryan, we are answering one of the most common questions going around, but also one of the most difficult questions going around that people commonly get unstuck on, and that is, what is your biggest weakness? Ryan, how on earth do you answer that? You are, if I wasn't going to say strong, I would have said perfect. So how does a perfect man answer a question like that?
Mate, I tell you what, I reckon every single interview I've ever had in my life, this question has come up. It's quite ridiculous, really, but it's a question that I feel, yes, it's about a weakness, but you can really turn it into quite a positive for you. You can make you look a lot better than the weakness should actually say. So I thought, why don't we go through our weaknesses? We can be nice and open on the podcast.
This could get deep.
Nice and deep and discuss. Well, not discuss. I guess we can just essentially be in an interview and say, what is your biggest weakness? And then we can kind of pick each other off that. So I'll start. And it's kind of like that episode where we rated each other. It's kind of like,
I love that episode.
Yeah, that was a really good episode. Some good feedback on that. I remember doing that. It was quite fun. So I'll start. I've got plenty of weaknesses. We're not perfect, Rose, as you said, but I think one of my biggest weaknesses is that I care about things that I just cannot control. And it's quite frustrating, to be honest. Like, it's a weird weakness to have. But I guess, like, if I was answering this in an interview situation, I feel like it's a weakness that isn't going to stop me from performing the role that I'm interviewing for, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I can do everything that I need to do in this role, but just so you know, like, I care about a lot of things, and when I can't control them, I care even more. Like, it doesn't sit well with me. So I'm just always not stressing over things, but I'm always thinking about it and I dwell on it, even though I can't change it.
You kind of just carry them in their mind, and that kind of affects how you do other things.
Yeah. Like, if things aren't, I don't know how to say this without making me look like a bit of like a crybaby, but like I care about, say, for instance, some cricket kit doesn't get to a shoot in time for a partner TVC. Like, that's happened, and I can't change it anymore. I can't physically get the shirts from Melbourne to Perth. Like, I can't do it. So there's no point dwelling over it. Like,
Mm,
we've found a solve. It's okay. Like, we'll fix it. But like, I feel like
mm,
I'll sometimes, or I'll dwell on it, and I'll be
yep,
almost just pissed off about it,
yep.
even though I can't actually change it. So, um, yeah, it's a weird one. But I guess like in an interview situation, I feel like I can turn that into a bit of a positive.
Mm,
It shows that I care. It shows that I'm
yeah,
like committed to making sure, or not committed to perfection in a way, but I know that I'm not going to be perfect. So it's not that. It's just more like I want things to go really well, and I want to be able to change it, even though I can't. So
yeah.
yeah,
The word conscientious comes to mind, and I remember like during you know parent teacher interviews during school, the feedback my parents would always get is, "Oh, he's a very conscientious student,
good
Ruben,"
word.
and that certainly comes to mind when you speak of that example.
Well, thank you. Well, that's good. I always aim to be conscientious at school.
Mm.
Not
But I
sure.
like I like
Yeah.
I like that approach though. Like pick something that shows you care almost to the detriment of your role, but is really a part of you that isn't going to affect how you do the job overall. So it's kind of like, you're not saying communication is my biggest weakness because obviously you need to be able to communicate
Yeah.
to do a partnerships role. So stick
Uh,
to something that's kind of on the
yeah.
periphery.
I agree. But I think at the same time, you got to be honest about it. So
Mm,
like, you can't just pluck a weakness that you've made up in your mind just to mold it into something that you think could make you look better. So like,
mm,
of course, I feel like nobody should ever say communication, even though it could be. I don't think
mm,
it's the weakness to choose because every single role needs communication. But
yep.
it's along the same lines of like, um, turning a question like, when's the time you failed into a really positive thing because you fixed that problem or you fixed that
Yeah.
failure. So
Yep.
it's that's what you should be aiming to do with any question that speaks to you around like something that you're not perfect at. You should be
Mm,
aiming to take that and switch it into something that makes you look really great or put yourself in a better
mm.
light.
Yeah, that's brilliant, and that's kind of my approach as well. Like, give them something, but then show them how I've worked on it and how it's become almost a strength.
Yeah.
So, for example, like one of my weaknesses back in the days was that I would always have a lot of ideas and would rush into them to try and implement them because I could see how good they were going to be. And this is in the context of being on the committee of my local cricket club. Cricket clubs are incredible space to use your creativity and implement things. And I just wanted to try and do anything and
Mm.
everything. And I would rush into these ideas too quickly to the point where people wouldn't buy into what I was trying to get across. And the other people in the committee would be like, "Oh, no, like we're not doing that, or you haven't sold it to me, you haven't explained it to me. Why is this a good thing?" And I was kind of stuck in my own mind, like, "How can you not see this is going to be a brilliant idea? It's going to be fun. It's going to be engaging. It's going to be the best experience you've ever seen."
Yeah.
But I was only considering my point of view, and that's because I was just so keen to like just get it down on paper and get it out there. Now,
Yeah.
for me, I had to overcome that. I had to force myself to stop every time I had an idea and think about how can I get this implemented? Not how can I get this from idea to an execution plan, but how can I get this actually implemented? And for that, I needed buy-in from other people. So I would stop, then call around 3 or 4 people, be like, "Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Do you reckon that will work? What would you add to it?" And they would often add more things to it. They'd bring new ideas, and the idea would get better. They would be bought into it, and the end product would end up being 10 times better than I could have done on my own. And just being able to share it with other people made the experience a lot better as well. So, not rushing into things and bringing people on the journey was something I had to learn,
Mm.
and it became a really good thing by the time I got to Cricket Australia because one of the ideas that myself and colleague and friend Pip Peshke had was this idea to bring people together around Australia in their homes, their cricket clubs, their schools, their workplaces to watch the Australian women's cricket team at the T20 World Cup. And it was through a campaign called the hashtag Watch Me viewing parties. Now, we had this idea, but rather than just like go ahead and get it down on paper, and then take it to someone and say, hey, this is a great idea. You should do it. We went to every single department. We went to digital, we went to community curriculum, we went to communications, we went to high performance, we went to marketing, we went to commercial, and said, hey, what do you think of this? What can you add to it? And we got buy-in from every single person along the way. And then that allowed us to form the pitch that went to Kevin Roberts and Scott Grant, the CEO and COO, and formed the final product, to which they ticked off, gave budget approval, and was implemented around the country. And so, but that I don't get to that point of stakeholder engagement without doing it terribly to begin with. So there's a weakness that I've had, and I've been able to turn that question into a positive by showing how I've made that transition to improve that certain skill.
Yeah. I remember when you came down and pitched it, and I remember it was quite impressive. I was like, shit, I'd be very nervous doing this to anybody. But no, it was good. But no, you're right. Like that's exactly it. Like you've deliberately made that change, which is important to note. And I think this is what the question is really about in an interview. It's not actually there for you to tell them, if you hire me, you've got to put up with this one weakness of mine. Like that's not the question they're asking.
Here's some extra baggage I'm bringing with me.
Yeah. By the way, I've got a massive bag of issues that I'm coming, and I'm not that great at this, and this, but I can do the job. Like, no, that's not the point of the question. The point of the question is to explain the weakness, how you overcome it, and how you can fix it, and possibly like how they can help you fix that. So it's a loaded question. So remember that whenever you get that. And when you're preparing, because to be honest, we always speak about having, 3 to 5 questions up your sleeve and you can just reel them off. This is one of those questions that you should just be able to reel off, say, what's the weakness? How have you fixed it? And how have you turned it into a positive? Like, use those examples. So this is one of those questions that you just need to have in your head.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Good stuff. I enjoyed that. I didn't realize you carried that weakness, but you hide it very well.
Yeah. No, I do. We do 360 reviews at work, and that came in through in the last one. So, I mean, it's not. I feel like it's not the worst one to have, but I think it's certainly something to work on. So,
yeah. Well, Cricket Australia clearly put up with it, so can't be too bad.
Gee, yeah. Don't know how they do.
Anyway, that will do us. If you want to learn more from us, find out who we are, connect with us on LinkedIn, link in the show notes. We'll see you next time.